but I can't see my screen because I'm challenged. So I hope you guys can bear with me. I'm going to be telling a story about my turkeys, and I'll be coughing. Sorry, coughing throughout, but I don't want to. I don't want to cough all the whole time I'm doing this live. I'm going to be doing a live talking turkey, and I don't mean Thanksgiving, although I could get into that, but I don't think I will. Okay, it shows that one person is viewing, and that is me. I'm viewing. I turned my phone around so you guys could see my shirt. It says, driving my husband crazy. It's hard to see it over here. One chicken at a time. Okay, just try to show you. There we go. So you've all seen my shirt. That's the only reason I have it turned around so that everything is that way. All right. I'd love to have some more people in here and I will start talking turkey. Just going to raise this up a little bit so that it doesn't look like I'm sitting in a hole. There we go. Maybe get a little bit closer. Hi, guys. I'm thinking maybe I'll put my phone down in front of my computer. Nah, that's not going to work. I apologize. Things are just jumping all over the place. I do apologize. I'm going to get down here in the chat, type in my message. Actually, I can tell about two different groups of turkeys that I raised over the years. One group of turkeys would be about 35 years ago, and the other one would be about 10 years ago, maybe? I don't know. I'll just wait till there are a few more people in here. I've raised chickens, turkeys, ducks, quail, guineas. I'm going to turn that down. Oh, gosh. Okay. Just going in my mind. Pea fowl. And I'm trying to think of when I got Corona. Oh, she was a baby. I got a peafowl as a baby. I don't remember if I got her off of Craigslist or if she came from a feed store. I don't remember where I got Corona. And I think she had a brother. I got two, and I think one was a boy. She had three failed relationships, unfortunately. I don't remember what happened to her sibling, probably not genetically related, just because if it came from a hatchery, not genetically related, but raised together. I don't remember what happened to him. I know he died. I just don't remember what tragedy brought him to his death. But she had two more after that, and they were both victims of either coyotes or foxes or bobcats. We had a real problem. And I liked them to be free. And unfortunately, with freedom comes danger. And somehow Corona survived for many years, but the peacocks did not. We did get a fourth peacock after Corona passed away, but then we decided we were moving and we couldn't bring him with us. So I rehomed him. So she did not have four failed pairings. She just had the three, which is pretty tragic when you think about it. So, but we're not here today to talk about that. Hey, Annie's big day. Can you have a turkey? Absolutely. Is it okay in your neighborhood / HOA? I don't know. There is, I apologize. I got to move this. There is a problem with raising turkeys and chickens together because turkeys carry something that can actually affect your chicken flock and cause them to die. It's got something to do with black, I don't know, something to do with their it's bad. It's a bacteria and they can pass it on to the chickens. So that can be a problem. Okay, I kind of raised this again. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't want to be looking like I'm sitting in a hole. Am I going the wrong direction? Oh gosh, my brain. Sorry. Yeah, I was going the wrong direction. There we go. That's better. You know what? I'll tell you that I want to tell the story of Tom first. He was our turkey that we had most recently. Hey, 13 in here. Good deal. Hey, bro. The bro. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to tell the story about the turkeys. First of all, it is illegal to. Hey, Jaja. Hey, pretty girl. If you hear that jingling of metal, it's my big girl shaking her head. Hi, sweet girl. Anyway, it's illegal to collect eggs from a wild turkey nest or disturb the family in any way. I am trained, educated, and trained, certified in wildlife rehabilitation. Hey, who's sending all the hearts? That's awesome. Hi. Nice. See, I've got my phone here and I've got my computer right there, so I'm looking back and forth. I was a rehabilitator, so people knew that if they had something, they could call me, bring them to me, whatever. So I got a call one day. A rancher had been mowing a field. The grass was probably a foot and a half tall in most places, and he unfortunately mowed right over the top of a turkey nest. The hen got out. She waited till the very last second to leave. And by the time he realized what he had accidentally done, the nest had been completely exposed and it was no longer a safe place for the female. And I think she knew that because he got out of there and he waited and watched to see if she came back, and she never came back to the nest. So it was a hot day. The eggs weren't in real danger of cooling off too much, but they still needed their mother's protection. We had ravens in the area, and they would have come down and eaten the eggs if they had seen them. And also, we had bobcat, coyote, foxes, and other things in the area that would have definitely taken advantage of an exposed nest. Even with the mother there, I'm just lowering it a little bit. I feel like I'm sitting in a hole. I feel like it looks like I'm sitting in a hole. I don't like this. Okay, there we go. Now you can see my chicken shirt better. Driving my husband crazy, one chicken at a time, although we don't have chickens right now. So anyway, he realized that he had accidentally done something really bad to this nest. So he called me and said, "Hey, can you come get these eggs?" Sure, it wasn't too far away. I already had my incubator up and running, and I had chicken and duck eggs in that. So I just put a towel in the microwave and heated it up, and then went to where he was, collected the eggs. I think I had 5 or 6. It was somebody's hitting that hard and heavy on that chat. Thank you. Hey, bro, again, hello. So I ended up putting them in the incubator, excuse me, with the other eggs that were in there. Then I got a call from a lady, and she absolutely did the wrong thing, and it was for the right reasons. She was very concerned because she was at some kind of a festival, and there was a planter next to the entrance and exit, and there was a female turkey, a wild turkey, sitting on, I think, 2 or 3 eggs. And she would fly away every time people would come to the door or come out the door. So this lady thought, oh my gosh, these eggs are going to be abandoned by their mother. And they might have been, I don't know. But if a wildlife officer had seen her take the eggs out of the nest, she would have been in big trouble. She would have gotten a ticket. She would have been fined. It's probably a misdemeanor. I don't know. I just know that you're not supposed to disturb turkey nests. Now, the rancher was mowing his field. Not his fault. The lady went out of her way to collect the eggs. she gave me a call. I said, yeah, keep them warm and bring them to me. And I put them in the incubator separate from the other eggs. And I marked them. You can mark eggs with a permanent marker. It's not going to hurt the egg, the baby inside the egg. So I marked all the eggs. And then we had a pretty good hatch. I did candle the eggs, and I had, sorry for that bump on the phone. I candled the eggs at some point, which is when you look through the eggshell with a very strong light and you can see if the baby is developing inside or if the egg is dead. And then you just throw away the ones that are dead. So I think I ended up with 5 viable turkey poults inside the eggs, and they hatched. Now that year I had a problem with my brooder, and the incubator is where you incubate and hatch the eggs. Hello to the 6 of you, 7 of you who are still watching. That's awesome. Let's see. The bro SJ, are you the one still hitting that? Hey, let me know where you're chatting from. I am in Tennessee. Anyway, I had a problem with my brooder and my chicks, my ducklings, and my poults. That's what turkeys are called. They were dying. And I've spoken to people in person and I've spoken to people online who had the same problem that year. And we were able to narrow it down to the shavings that we were buying at a feed store, a farm supply store. We all bought the same brand from the same company in the same town. We all lived together near each other. And I'm not going to mention the company because I don't have proof that's what happened, but that was the worst year ever. And I stopped buying my shavings at that store because of it. So I ended up with just 2 turkey poults that were successfully brooded, and they grew up. And when they became, I would say, teenagers, we turned them out into the yard with the ducklings. And I don't know what I did with the chicken chicks. I probably put them in the coop with the rest of the chickens, and they would have been turned loose during the day into a different area. But I didn't want to keep anybody cooped up, so to speak, if I didn't have to. My yard was fenced. It was protected most of the time from coyotes, although not always. But we did still have issues, but I let them out and then I kept an eye on things and we tried to mitigate issues. So as older adolescents / young teenagers, the 2 turkeys went out into the yard. My husband ended up naming them. And when I tell you what he named them, I think you'll understand why I've kind of removed his privilege of naming our critters. It became pretty obvious we had a male and a female. Not related. One came from the farmer's nest and one came from the nest at the festival. Oh, my grandfather clock is going to tell me that it is 10 o'clock. So he named the male, became obvious we had a male, named him Tom, which is what a boy turkey is called anyway, a Tom. And he named the female Turkey Legs. I'm taking away his animal naming privilege. Those 2 names were a crime against nature, if you ask me. So Tom and Turkey Legs grew up in the yard running around. Turkeys can breed with chickens, and they can successfully have babies. So even though we had the 2 turkeys running around, you might think they were lonely, but they hung out with the chickens a lot. There was no mating activity going on between them. We also had the guineas running around the yard. The only birds I really kept cooped up at the time were the quail. They were so small and they were it was a danger for them to be out because we had hawks that would have picked them off right away. So anyway, they're running around the yard doing their turkey thing, growing up, becoming beautiful. Tom became gorgeous. I wish I had StreamYard. I would post a picture of him in here and you guys would say, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. Not tame, but not afraid of people for sure. And he wasn't terrified of dogs. He would fly up into a tree or onto a fence if a dog came running toward him. So he knew how to get away from wildlife, like coyotes, bobcats, the critters that would come after him. But he and Turkey Legs were buddies because he wasn't mature yet. So he wasn't interested in mating with her at all. He was just hanging out. And you'll see in the wild, you'll see flocks of bachelor turkeys. They're not old enough yet to fight for a flock of hens. So they just kind of hang out together. And that's where he would have been if he was raised with his siblings. And if there were 5 or 6 eggs in that clutch, he would have had his siblings to hang out with. But we had the 2 of them, and he was a very good looking turkey. I thought he was good looking. Hi to the 8 of you. I can't see how many people have liked my video, my live so far, but I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. And comment where you are. Let me see. Nobody has said where they are. Bro is still saying hi. You play Roblox. Okay. I do not play Roblox. I don't know what those are. So anyway, Tom was maturing, but he wasn't super old. So one day my husband looked out and he saw Tom, and Tom went from looking like, hi, Murat Duran. Thank you for commenting. He looked like, okay, he went from a GQ model to an old Alaska fisherman overnight. Like he went from being kind of good looking to really rough overnight. And he grew. He was bigger and more mature. And my husband's like, something's going on with Tom. So I went out and looked. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, that was quite a change overnight. I was like, wow, what happened to Tom? It wasn't Tom. It was a mature wild turkey, a wild Tom, who was a loner. He didn't have his own flock of hens. Sorry, that's Jaja. Hey, Bean, Jaja, let the neighbors park in their driveway. Some people break the law by parking in their own driveway. It's a real crime around here. Bean, hey. Stop it. I just tossed a pin. Now she's sniffing the pin. It didn't hit her, don't worry. I'm not doing animal abuse. Her hackles are up like that tall, and her hair isn't even that long. I think her skin goes up. Oh, God. I would lock her in my bedroom, but she'll eat the door to get out. Jaja, stop. Come here. She doesn't listen to me. She's a livestock guardian dog. She knows better than I do. There's a delivery truck outside is what's going on. They're delivering packages, which is against the law, and it should be stopped. No packages delivered here. No one will ever break into my house because my dog is so obnoxiously out of control. Hey, there's 10 people watching. Hi there. Hey, Murat. I'm doing great. Telling a turkey story. It was a male turkey that had no hens, and he saw turkey legs. Ooh la la, baby. And he came in all strutting his stuff, and he was just knobby and gnarly. He was probably an old Tom who had been fought by a younger Tom and chased away from his flock of hens. And that's all I can figure, because he was an old, gnarly old Tom, and he was checking out turkey legs. My baby boy Tom, with a capital T, was hiding behind one of our sheds because he was terrified. This big old Tom came in the yard and was like, hey, I think you're cute, and probably looked at my Tom with a capital T and said, I'll fight you for your girl. And Tom with a capital T was like, she's not my girl, man. She's my sister. I don't know. I'm putting human feelings on animals. I know that's weird. Anyway, Turkey Legs was looking for her brother because she didn't want to go out on a date with this guy. He was creepy, scary, and she wanted nothing to do with him. But the next morning, Turkey Legs was gone, and so was her suitor. They were on a date. Hey, Karen, I'm talking turkeys, man. They were on a date. They were on a long-term date. I'm thinking that was the beginning of him building his new flock of hens, because she never did come back. And you had to fly in and out of our yard. We had a fence up around it. So he took her off into adulthood. And she probably had her own clutch of eggs. I mean, I want to hope that Turkey Legs had a wonderful life, even though she had a terrible name. Like I said, I blame my husband for that one. Tom stuck around. Didn't seem to miss his sister. I mean, honestly, turkeys and chickens get along great. He just hung around. Mostly, he hung around on our back patio. That dog that was just barking, she was out there with him. She was just a puppy. And he would stand on the back patio and look at his reflection in the sliding glass door and kind of do his little turkey strut, and he would turn around and he would practice being all that in a bag of chips. And I would throw him grapes or blackberries. I'd dice up apples and put those out for him. He had food and water out in the yard, but I would give him special treats. If any bird came to the back door, they got special treats. The excuse me, the guineas would come to the back door sometimes, and the males would strut back and forth. Look, grapes, but they would get cut up apple and other things. Well, we had to move. And Tom was a wild turkey. He slept up in the trees at night. If you didn't realize it, wild turkeys are very agile, and they do fly way up into trees and sleep at night. And then he would come down during the day, and he was welcome to stay at our place. The people who bought our place from us kept our donkeys, and Tom was welcome to come and go as he pleased. At one point when we were still there, he ended up at some neighbor's house. Oh, God. By the way the turkey flies, it wasn't as far as it was driving, but I'm going to say probably about a mile away from the house. He posted a picture or a video in our little neighborhood Facebook group and said, "Hey, this turkey's standing on my back patio at the sliding glass door visiting. He seems really friendly." And there are a bunch of us, and they're like, "Oh, that's that's Nana's turkey. That's Tom. He'll hang out for a little while. He likes to eat grapes, cold grapes from the refrigerator on a hot day." And he eventually made his way back to us. And then he started hanging out at another neighbor's house. Her name's Lisa. Oh gosh, my nose. I'm allergic to turkey stories. And she would give him grapes and things. And then another neighbor sent a picture to me after we had moved and said, "Hey, your turkey's hanging out on my back patio. I feed him." So she was feeding him fruit, scraps probably. "But can you come get him because he's pooping on my patio?" I said, "Well, we moved." Hey, Mohammed. I'm in Tennessee, darling. We had already moved out of state. I said, I can't come get him. She said, "Well, I feed him because I feel sorry for him, but he stands on my patio and poops." And if you've ever seen turkey poop, it's dark brown, pasty, kind of the consistency, although not chunky, of oatmeal. I mean, that's how thick it is, like oatmeal, but I don't know. It's just creepy gross. It's disgusting. I mean, chicken poop, most of the time you can let it get hard and sweep it off your patio because it'll just roll away. Turkey poop, it's like glued to your patio. So I just said, no, I can't come get him. I never could come get him. Once I released him into the yard, he was wild. I mean, I could never catch that turkey. Maybe with a turkey trap, I wouldn't even know how. I said, stop feeding him and he'll go away. And he did. He went to her neighbor's house. Lisa. And Lisa loved him and didn't mind that he pooped on her patio. So Lisa sent me a picture of him recently, and I tried to put it in the thumbnail, and it wouldn't do it, and I don't know why. I tried 2 different photographs of Tom to put in my thumbnail, and my phone wouldn't let me put them in. So I apologize for not being able to show you what Tom actually looks like. He looks like a wild turkey, because he is. And I could not show you a picture of Turkey Legs because I never took a picture of Turkey Legs while she was with us. And I can't believe she went off with that knobby old turkey. Yeah, bro. Super gross. Mohammed Musa Dar. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's one turkey story. I had another turkey story. Oh, that's right. I don't have chickens right now, but I've only not had chickens for a couple of years. I just don't have enough coops right now for chickens. I have 4 coops and they all have ducks in them. And ducks and chickens, they get along, but there can be issues with them. So I don't want them in together. It's mostly the ducks are just so much bigger than the chickens. And if they lay eggs in the same nest, the ducks will smash the chicken eggs and then I have to clean out the nest and it's just it's so much drama, it's not worth it. So I don't have chickens right now. But 35 years ago, and leading up till just a couple of years ago, I've almost always had at least 1 chicken. And this particular time in my life, I lived on a very small piece of property, about 1/3 of an acre, I think, and I had a large garden. I had rabbits, I raised rats, chickens. I did have some ducks, but they were rescue ducks, and I eventually ended up getting rid of them because they were so messy and so gross. Now I raise ducks, but I have a better situation now. Anyway, I had silky chickens, and silky chickens are little tiny fluffy chickens. You can look them up. They look like they have fur. They don't look like they have feathers. They look like they have fur. Their feathers don't have the little locking mechanisms that make feathers stay together kind of hard so that water rolls off them. They're just all kind of floating around like this. They don't have the little hooks on them. So they really do look like they have fur. And they're very small. They're bantams. So they're very small chickens. And I had some that were broody, but I did not have a rooster because I lived in town, and so I couldn't have a rooster. So they were broody, which means they wanted to sit on eggs and hatch eggs. And I wanted turkeys. So I went to the feed store and I bought 3 turkeys. And I put 2 under one of the silkies and I put 1 under the other silkie. And they raised them. They thought they were their babies. And my 2 silkies were white, fluffy white silkies. They looked exactly the same. This just died. I could tell the difference between them, but the turkeys could not. But the chickens knew which baby turkey was theirs and which was not. So here's the drama. Chickens always have a pecking order. And these 2 silkies lived separate from the rest of my chickens. And I mean, they were all in the same yard, but they didn't hang out together. But those 2 silkies had a pecking order. 1 silkie was the dominant one and 1 silkie was the submissive one. So the babies didn't know the difference between the 2 moms. And they would sometimes accidentally go to the wrong mom. And they were bigger than their moms by now. So when the moms were trying to brood them at night, the chicken is here and then her wing is like this because the turkey is so much bigger than she is. So the one that had 1 baby would just put 1 wing over the top of it, but the one that had 2, both of her wings were over the top of her babies, and they were just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and she was, it was hilarious. But sometimes the baby would walk to the wrong mom, any one of the 3 babies. And the mom would always peck the baby if it came to her and it was the wrong one. And of course, these turkeys have no idea why their mom is pecking them so mean because they can't tell the difference between their moms. So if the dominant mom had one of the other one's babies come over to her, she would peck it and there was nothing the other mom could do. But if the submissive mom had the wrong baby come over to her and she pecked it, the dominant mom would come over and peck the submissive mom. It was a whole thing. It was absolutely a whole thing. And you can bet those moms, for as dumb as they were smarter than those turkeys. Domestic turkeys are not as smart as wild turkeys. And you can't even put them outside. You can't even let them grow up in a rainstorm area. Like here in Tennessee, if I had domestic turkeys, I would have to provide them with a cover, and I might even have to herd them in when it started to rain because they are so dumb. I'm sorry, I hate to say that. They're so dumb. Have you ever played BMX? No. No, I haven't. I haven't played BMX. Mm-mm. They will stand out in the rain and look up at the rain, and the rain will run down their nose, and water will go in their lungs, and they'll get pneumonia and they'll die. Domestic turkeys have to be protected from nature. It's very sad, actually. So these turkeys, they did okay. They had a tragic ending, not as good as Tom and Turkey Legs. I had a neighbor that decided to feed them poison, and they died. It was that was a rough day. They killed 5 geese, my baby geese, and they were adults at that time. But I had 2 mamas that were broody. My geese didn't have a gander, and I got them some baby geese, and I think I got 3. So one had 2 and one had 1, but it was goose on goose, so it was natural. They were the same breed and everything. And those 2 mamas raised those babies, and my neighbor fed all of my geese and my turkeys poison. Don't know why. They didn't hurt anybody. They had a child, a son, teenager, who has grown up in and out of jail and prison. And I just have a feeling one day he just decided to poison my turkeys and my geese, which is really sad because a lot of the neighbors would walk their children down to my yard and feed my animals through the fence. Anyway, that was a really sad story. So I apologize to you guys for the downer. There are still 4 people in here. I sure do appreciate you guys being here. I am going to cut the turkey story off at this point. I apologize for the downer. Just know that Tom is doing great. He's still out there. He may even have a flock of girls by now. I don't know. I haven't heard from Lisa in a couple of years, but it's possible he's wandered off into nature, found himself some ladies. He may have even found Turkey Legs. It could be that she was available. I don't know. Wouldn't that be fun? He would have known. Wild turkeys are way smarter than domestic turkeys. So anyway, you guys, you have a blessed day, okay? And I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you want to hear more weird stories about farm life, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications when I go live or when I post a new video. I do a lot of drag racing videos, and I will probably start, today's Tuesday, tomorrow I might go down to the dragway. Not sure. I might rest tomorrow in anticipation of a really busy weekend. There is going to be an entire weekend of drag racing going on at Thunder Valley, the Bristol Dragway in Bristol, Tennessee. So I may head that direction. I'm not positive, but this weekend for sure. So hit that notification bell, and then you'll know when I'm posting a video or when I'm going live. All right. Bye, guys.